Disney's going to report quarterly results tomorrow morning. The company's in a dispute, as you know, with YouTube TV, leaving Disney-owned channels dark on the service. Join us now, Tom Rogers, founder, one of the founders. It says you're the sole founder here of CNBC. Thank you for doing that, Tom. Success has many fathers.
You've lived up to the promise, Joe.
Many fathers. You're also a Versant senior advisor and a CNBC contributor. You're all over the place with all kinds of hats. I don't know how long this lasts. What if you had to lead with something for Disney to watch? I wouldn't know where to start, really. It's such a multifaceted operation, and there's so many things going on in media. We could just focus on that. We could focus just on Disney Plus or ESPN. What should we be watching, though, for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's going to be the last time that they release subscriber numbers for us, which is kind of too bad because that's been an important metric for Disney. One thing on that front that I am particularly curious about is what the Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN streaming, otherwise known as ESPN Unlimited now, what that bundle at $29.99, which they've introduced, what kind of traction that has, because that really goes to the heart of Disney's advantage here of having family entertainment, adult entertainment, sports, and whether or not they can really bundle that successfully and drive it into the market. Overall, they need to reaccelerate their revenue growth in the streaming area. Having said that, they are the legacy media player that now has their streaming revenue exceeding their legacy media revenue. And in that sense, they are ahead of the pack in terms of the other legacy players.
Yep, I can see that. The stock has had a tough go of it, but that's just, join the crowd with media. Maybe it's even performed a little bit better than some other companies. Do you think Disney still needs to, do something with its asset mix? What would you do at this point? What are they likely to do?
It is kind of curious. I mean, Disney is basically selling stock-wise where it was 10 years ago. And it's selling at a real discount to the S&P multiple. I've been on this show a lot over the years and saying the real question is the decline in linear going to be offset by higher growth on the streaming side? And Disney's achieved that. Their streaming is now more than offsetting the decline in linear. And yet the stock really seems stuck. And you have some other things going on here which really points to the I'd say the demise of the clout in some ways of the Disney brand. It's kind of remarkable that this YouTube TV controversy that you mentioned, where the Disney channels, including ESPN, have been off YouTube TV now for 2 weeks. That's just never happened before, particularly in the middle of football season with pro football, college football, the strength of ESPN in terms of their sports offering. And there doesn't seem to be any real end in sight. That just never would have happened before. These controversies with that kind of strength in football season would have been resolved in a day or two. So it really points to the fact that while Disney is the leader of the legacy pack, legacy media has lost some of its real punch in terms of marketplace strength.
Any of that self-inflicted? Do you think I'm reading? I can't believe I'm reading this, but I know who Oscar Isaac is because I saw Frankenstein in Telluride. So he was in Star Wars. He doesn't want to work on a Star Wars sequel because he's mad at what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. And then other people are mad about what happened with Jimmy Kimmel from the other side. So Disney's like, getting it from both sides on a lot of different issues. Was any of it, could they have avoided any of this, do you think, Tom? Or is it just culturally everybody's in the middle of this war? Or did they get too woke?
Well, I really don't think the political fight that they found themselves in the middle of goes to the heart of what Disney needs to do or where it finds itself in terms of investor confidence. I think that when you look at Netflix with 30% plus margins on the streaming side and all the resources that Disney has poured into streaming, and investors hoping that it gets to a 10% margin, there's still a number of questions out there about whether this transformation from a legacy media company to a streaming media company is going to end up with something at least as good or more powerful than where Disney was before. And, the Kimmel issue obviously got a lot of play and a lot of press in the midst of what is going on by way of secular headwinds in linear and the issues that Disney still needs to prove out on streaming. I don't really think that amounts to much.
Tom, can you just, every morning we talk about the M&A chessboard that is the media landscape right now and how it all comes together or not. Everybody for so long wanted to be Disney, and maybe everybody still wants to be Netflix and Disney. Maybe those are the two last ones that you want to be. But how do you think that all happens, if it happens at all, given where we are talking about Warner Brothers Discovery, Paramount, NBC, Peacock, which of course is owned by this company, Comcast? What's your prognosis at the moment? Well,
in my mind, the most likely scenarios are either Comcast and Warner come together, or Paramount and Warner come together, and unclear how that's going to play out, and whether Paramount will swallow the whole or whether there'll be some combination that just involves the studio and HBO. But whichever one of those combination emerges, it could well end up being the strongest legacy media streaming player, which Disney has held that position since the beginning of the streaming era. And Disney has to prove that its global growth, its domestic growth has been pretty substantial, but its global growth has really slowed, while HBO Max has really begun to show its global chops, and I think will continue to over the next year. And with that, another real issue for Disney, I think, if it's no longer seen as the leader of the pack in terms of legacy media streamers. So I think that's one to watch very carefully in terms of the impact on Disney, even though Disney is nowhere near that whole acquisition issue.